Hey, good morning, folks. AJ here. We're at Christian Fellowship Church here in Elm City, North Carolina. Doing an on-site here to see what we can do to help them out. Long drive, well, not really that long. Let me not say that. I guess I'm just tired. It was about like an hour and a half drive, 2 hours from stopping. But we're here early. Meeting is at 10 o'clock and it is 9:30. So we're gonna sit here and listen to some music for music tomorrow for church that I gotta play until people get here, and then we'll get inside to see what we can do to help them out. Alright, folks, so we had a good conversation here. So we're going to just, how we normally do, we're going to do a talk through of everything. Mainly this is for me. We're going to document this once I get in front of the computer, show how all this works. And if we get the contract, we'll take you down here, show you the entire process of putting it all together and help transform another ministry. So let me turn you around here. So the main thing right now is they have the platform right now. So the idea is we're going to wire up everything for 4 PTZ cameras. Maybe that 4K one that we looked at the other day, got to play around with it first, but we're going to put one about right here in the back, and maybe in front of that light so that we can have a front shot. But at the same time, they use manual cameras. So either if we can get inside the walls, or if they're okay with conduit, we're going to run a jack so that they can have a stationary camera plugged in here and on that other side and in the center. Now, like a lot of churches, they're using the Sling Studio. And what we're going to do is probably move away from that, get everything running in here so that inside here, this is just for the production and the projections on the TVs inside the sanctuary. We're going to replace the Sling Studio there with a ATEM Mini Extreme, probably that one or the SDI to give some more outputs. They are running, let me go back. They're actually running ProPresenter, and what I suggested to them is actually get an external dock with a DeckLink Duo that will give all of one system being able to project and handle everything. Right now they're running 2 site licenses, so one for the lower screens and the other one's for the top ones, so we can consolidate everything for them. We'll run those cables back. They said we can get inside of here. The sides get a little bit slanted, but we've done that before. The other camera will go here. They're also talking about feeding the TV, so we'll have to do some type of distribution splitter or something like that to feed into all the TVs that they have. This room, they want to turn this into a production room. So they have, they've duplicated a mixer, so this is a dedicated mixer just for the live stream. So back here, thinking about 2 32s for the multi-view and for the output, if need be, maybe a custom computer. If they don't already have one, we'll do the ATEM. We'll also maybe do a mini PC or that computer, because show them how instead of using Restream, you could have the ATEM stream to like Facebook and then the other system stream out to YouTube, or you can just go with Restream with a monthly fee. But the main thing is to make the live stream production here in a separate room. We run all those cables on the other side of the wall here that would come in here, that would feed all the cameras. So the idea is to give them an option of using the PTZs to control everything, or the manual, depending on if they have a full staff, you can go all manual. If not, you got the joystick that can control everything. The other thing is just giving them some other options as well too, is maybe going with a UniFi system so that we can enhance, because just like with other churches have an issue with the Wi-Fi, being able to segment it so that if people are inside the sanctuary, you can lock down what they can and can't go to, as well as how much bandwidth they use up. Potentially may look at doing some Starlink here to help out with their Wi-Fi, because they're in an area where they said that they don't have a lot of options from an internet standpoint. but mainly want to put the UniFi system in here that could potentially go to all the stuff that can be done, like the door access, security cameras, phones, set them up in the future for that. Maybe go with the Cloud Gateway Ultra Max, probably leaning more towards the UDM Pro, so that if they ever desire to go to that other stuff, it's there and it can handle that. The Cloud Gateway Ultra can only do the networking component and protect. You get the UDM Pro, it has access to all of that stuff. Outside of, running the cables and stuff like that, fairly straightforward from an infrastructure standpoint. And like we always talk about, we want to set them up in the future so that if they ever wanted to add anything on, I don't have to come back down here. They can just buy the stuff and plug into what they need to, show them how to do all the other stuff, and help them with that. So let's go ahead and cut over to the computer, which is only going to take y'all a couple of seconds, but I got to drive back to Virginia and we'll do that. And we'll just design this thing and we go from there. All righty, folks, we are back. Took a little bit long. I was tired coming back and took a nap. So we woke up. So let's get all this stuff so we can get this off to them today. All righty. So let's go ahead and set up everything. Give it a name. And again, the good thing about it is we don't really have to touch anything inside the sanctuary. Everything is going to be new, but we are going to design everything, even if they decide not to go with it. All right, so first, let's make these a little bit smaller. So we're going to do 4 PTZs. And I really need to find a better way to design this so it makes it a lot easier to do the design. But either way, we're going to do left, right, front, and back here. We're going to need and actually, let me do this again. We're going to add stationary cameras too, because we need to make sure that we have connections for both, because that's what we're going to do jacks for. And I'm going to put another one here in the center to simulate the one that's in the middle of the floor right now that they're probably going to put on a dolly on the tripods that they have. All right, so we got that. We are going to need a POE switch. Now just grab whatever random one here. We're probably going to use the BV Tech ones. We'll put this inside of the room where it's going to be kind of like the live streaming production type of room. We also going to need a joystick. Make that a little bit smaller. All right. Now, the good thing is, since they duplicated their mixer and they have another physical mixer for the live stream, we can just get a short cable just to connect to that. So we're going to get, and let me move this out of the way so this will be easier for my path for everything. So this is going to be our ATEM Mini Extreme. And again, it's possible they may move it to the SDI Extreme so we can have multiple outs. I don't think we need to do that, but we probably will need to do some converters. So let's do a computer, and this is going to simulate their iMac that's going to be inside the sanctuary that's running ProPresenter. And we're going to do a dock, like I said, so that they can get away from having to do multiple licenses and multiple instances of ProPresenter, and they can just have one that does that for them. So we'll add a dock here. It's probably going to be a DeckLink Duo that's going to be connected over Thunderbolt there. So, excuse me, not a dock, but an external enclosure. So we can add PCI cards to the Mac that you can't open it up and do anything like that. So we're going to connect these. And this is going to be fiber optic HDMI. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 for our cameras. But then our regular cameras, let's make this a little bit bigger so we can have a connection to each one of these. hate when it does that. Forget it. I'll just use the same connection here. There. And then we'll make a jack for all the rest of these. And let me move these out of the way, make them a lot easier to see the cable raceways. And for each one, and again, the main thing is going to be what is the best way to do the path for the cable so they're up and out of the way. And we'll just mimic this one in the front, and we're either going to run that in the ceiling or run it across the beam on the ceiling, and then the cables, you're not going to be able to notice them at all. And then one more jack over here. Like that. And let's move the whole computer and everything up and out of the way. Thought it was going to let me do all of them at the same time, but I was wrong. So we got that here. Now with if we do a DeckLink Duo, and I really need to consolidate my space a little bit better here. With this, we're going to put a converter, an SDI to HDMI converter on here. Or it's possible to do HDMI. I don't know what connections that they have that are going to their screens. I believe it's just HDMI based off of what he was saying. So it might be a DeckLink Duo SDI card or a DeckLink Duo quad HDMI. Either one will give us the desire of what we're doing. We want to bring in, well, no. We can't use it. We can't use the HDMI quad because that is not bidirectional. So we're going to have to do with the DeckLink Duo, and then we'll convert this SDI to HDMI. So we'll have one of those connections be dedicated for the ATEM. So that will be connected over HDMI, which I typically do in blue. A SDI cable I leave in black. That will be the dedicated feed for the ATEM for that. So that will get us our ProPresenter feed into this, and then we'll go over looks with them so that this will be formatted in a lower third format, or it could be full screen. Because right now we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 connections, and then 8. So we don't have any more connections. So this will have to be a look that they press a button that will switch if it's going to be in lower third, or we want to do a full screen, which is going to be very simple to do once we set it up in ProPresenter for them. All right, and then we have our mixer, which again is right beside it. So we don't have to worry about that, and we can pull the dedicated feed from there. Probably it's going to be dual XLR to 3.5. That will bring in, so we have dedicated audio and everything there. We're going to do 2 monitors here, probably 2 32s on the wall. So one will be the multi-view, and the other one could be a computer screen if need be for here. So let's bring this down so you can actually see. And again, that would be multi-view. And I didn't even connect everything over to POE switch, but we'll switch back to that. And then maybe the other screen will be, is going to be the main output. Yeah, we'll do the main output. And actually, what we need to do is, because they have different feeds that are going to different TVs, we're going to hook that up into an HDMI splitter. And we'll do the Ori 1x8 HDMI splitter. So that will give us the program feed. That will go to that other screen that's right there in the booth, so they can see, you know, full screen. You're going to see it on the multi-view anyway. So that's going to do the program out. Scoot this over just a little bit. And then all the other televisions, I think it was a total of 6 that they mentioned. And I'm running out of space already. I'll just do 4 for right now. So everything that's coming through the ATEM, that is what's going to go. That program feed is going to feed out to all the TVs that are connected. All right. So let's go ahead and connect everything to our Ethernet. To our POE switch as well too. So we only got to run these connections to the cameras, the PTZ cameras. We don't have to worry about the stationary Canon G50s. They don't have any options to leverage Ethernet in any way. So that'll be Cat 6. And we got another one that's going to go to the joystick. And again, we do this because it's going to provide power. And I've moved over to a gigabit switch. Now that it's a more reasonable price, I have a gigabit switch so we can actually hook that up to the ATEM, because the ATEM is going to be handling the streaming. And as an option, either the ATEM, they can subscribe to Restream and go to Facebook and YouTube, even though I'm against going to Facebook since the changes. But we give some options. It's very simple. Or we do one of the mini PCs. Actually moved it back upstairs, but something like this, the bigger one, that can actually be hooked up and just run just straight vanilla OBS that just brings in the feed and sends it off there. So we would say maybe this is OBS PC. And that could be the operating computer that's in there as well too. And see, every time I try to get this more organized, it looks uglier and uglier. So this is going to be connected over USB. That's going to get the feed of the video and audio that will go to that second computer that's streaming to a different platform that can also run the ATEM software and everything like that. That'll be the kind of point that if you just run literally just that mini PC with the ATEM control software and OBS, and that's all it's going to be doing, it should be more than enough, and you don't have to worry about building a dedicated system. Which reminds me, my streaming system completely crashed after the live stream, and had to order stuff last minute. The thing won't boot. It keeps throwing a Windows error, which kind of stinks, but wasn't planning on having to fix my computer as well too. So all the parts are going to be in here tomorrow. So we're going to do some emergency surgery tomorrow after church. All right, so we got that there. We're going to also add a SSD for our second output. And trying to make it so it's very easy to see where everything is connected. So that is going to be our other out, so that it is recording everything on the SSD. So it's very easy to take that drive and upload it, take it home or whatever if there's an internet issue. And that's literally it inside the sanctuary. So we do have to do the enclosure and the card here, the mini PC, and all the other components. But that's really it, because the ATEM is going to be handling the streaming, or OBS. We can pair that, handle both. Now, the other thing that I was talking to them about is using the UDM Pro to handle their Wi-Fi and set them up for future stuff. So let's scoot over here just a little bit, and maybe I should do it on this side since the switch is already here. So we'll do the UniFi UDM Pro, just because they had mention of doing like bigger things, taking over their existing cameras, using Protect to do that. So we would put that in between their router, their ISP, internet. So that'll be their ISP. and whatever stuff that they have. So let's say they already have a modem. Let's say that's their regular modem. That will come in that way. We run it out to the UDM Pro. And then that would feed into the POE switch that we got. And then we do some access points, maybe a total of 3 for the sanctuary, kind of the entrance area. And I think the youth building, I believe it's called, that they have. And that should be enough with the U7s. That would be more than enough to cover everybody. And it will allow to set up everything. Now, if I didn't mean to do that, I'll probably go with the special edition and then don't have to worry about adding a POE switch to this. Or we could just do that, and because the UDM Pro is $379 or $399, and then maybe the Ultra is $129. So that would kind of equate out to it, and it gives us a way to move that switch over there. So maybe I'll do the Ultra. So it'll be Ultra POE switch. That'll connect that way. And then we would let that bridge into all of the existing connections that whatever the router is. So everybody else would be on the UniFi system instead of the existing one, so that the UniFi can control all the fun stuff there. And we'll probably just get a simple 6U rack. Again, I didn't see if they already had a rack to put that in place, but we'll just make that the centralized hub where the internet's coming in, do a rack on the wall or even a floor one, or use existing if they have something. And then now that would give, for the sanctuary, entrance, I'll just call it overflow because I don't know the proper name for it. So that'll be access points there that would give higher quality internet, and we're able to segment out to a guest profile and limit how much they can do, have content management on what they can and can't go to when they're on the Wi-Fi, and everything else will be plugged in to go to everything. And that's mainly it. So fairly straightforward. We got to do some research to make sure we get the right connections to Thunderbolt 1. And again, the church I just came from in Chicago had this exact same setup. So I can remote in and actually look at the exact same one or get them to take a picture. First United Methodist is actually going to be there Sunday. And they said yesterday they actually practiced with everything is set up and everything worked flawlessly for them. So that's good. So I think that's about it. I am going to write up all of this, send it to them, and if we get the contract, I'll take you along with me. I might have some assistants with me. See if my best friend can come up there and help me with this. He might be coming on board to help me out with some stuff there and handle some of the southern states, so I don't have to drive all the way down there. So diversifying, adding some more people. But like I said, if we get the contract, I'll bring you along, document everything so you can see how we do it, and then more importantly, kind of like what they said, help them implement this stuff, because a bunch of people can install this stuff, but they really don't talk about how it can be used effectively for ministry, nor are most of those people that install it in media ministry that know the runs of using this in a service. But again, thank you so much, CFC, for contacting me, and link is going to be down below to everything recommended. And if you ever need any help, you can go to ajhomes.com/consultations. We travel, we do phone, Zoom, all that good stuff to help you out, modernize your media ministry, or to get your questions answered and give you some straight answers to what can be done just specifically for your ministry, not a boxed approach. We change the stuff out specifically for what you need. So I think that's about it. So if you like this type of content, appreciate a like, consider subscribing, hit that bell, the way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ. Catch you on the next video. Later.